The NBA economy could come crashing down thanks to the new rules regarding the team's salary caps and how they're going to be able to spend their money. With players taking advantage of the large sums of money on contracts in the league trying to value time spent on the court, we're going to be trying to break down and cover everything about all these new deals, new rules, and how the effects will have on new things to come in the league during this video. The NBA's new CBA is finally in place, and it's going to determine how teams can spend their money. What this now allows is for the teams to sign a new contract extension at 140%, more than their previous contract last year at 120%. While the intentions seem to spread talent and promote fairness, these new rules could create huge problems in the free agency as well as the middle-class players in the NBA. They also placed the second tax apron, which is set at $70.5 million above the team's luxury tax. That means that if a team ends up going over the tax apron, they cannot use their mid-level exemptions to sign valuable players. If this was in place last year, it wouldn't have allowed Russell Westbrook to sign with the LA Clippers. Now, the money issue started with the NBA initiating the Supermax contracts so as to help teams keep their cornerstone players by increasing their contracts. Players that have made the All-Star as well as the All-NBA teams could get these lucrative deals to remain grounded in their respective teams. This, however, had the opposite effect on the teams because the demands were so high. When you combine those with high contract demands and salary caps, the luxury tax as well as the new apron tax, you're going to find yourself in a potential problem, and that's all waiting to collapse. So let's go ahead and check out a couple of the players who just signed these recent contracts. Take, for example, the Bucks. They just signed the max contract agreement with Giannis the Geek Freak, coming in at a whopping extension worth $186 million for 3 years. Although the new deal doesn't take effect until the 25-26 season, it's still going to affect the team and how they plan for the future. Here's a couple of details. His new deal will earn him about $60 million on average for those 3 seasons on his contract. And based on the player option, he could also earn about $66 million in the 3rd year. These are huge amounts being rolled off to one player. You could pretty much argue that he was coming off of a career best scoring season with an average of 31.1 points, 11.8 rebounds, and 5.7 assists per game while shooting 55.3% for more than 60 games. The Bucks definitely want to keep their cornerstone player and will do all they can to build a competitive team around him. However, these money-related tactics could create a problem in the future. With the Bucks now requiring Damian Lillard for a 3-team trade, Damian will now be a part of the effective effort to upgrade the roster following Giannis' comment about wanting to see the team's level of commitment toward winning another championship. That's all good and fine and dandy and well, but listen, there is now a potential problem down the lane with Damian and Giannis. And here's the problem. Both are on huge salaries that ultimately close that salary cap. That is just 2 players on the roster alone. The team's well beyond the salary cap when you add Chris Middleton, Brook Lopez, and Bobby Portis. Now they've got to seek a free agent veteran who's willing and ready to sign a minimum contract. Is it straightforward? Sure, but it's going to be hard to acquire any valuable depth in the league. The money issue is that the players will do all they can to seek contracts or at least demand some sort of trade, whichever is best, for any of them. The middle-class players are also looking for ways to increase their salaries, a key issue for building a team. Now, some of the best middleman players are also increasing their salaries day by day, and this increase has an effect on the salary issue in the league. Just as an example, Jaden McDaniels just signed a contract extension with the T-Wolves before the deadline for first-rounders from the 2020 rookie class. He agreed to a 5-year deal with $136 million after a season where he averaged 12.1 points per game. He also started 79 games in that period, but this is a team that already has Anthony Edwards on the roster. He also went on to sign a 5-year contract extension worth $260 million. A couple of other 2020 rookies that signed big contract extensions include guys like LaMelo Ball, Tyrese Halliburton, and Desmond Bane. But the middle class needs some love too, and with the contracts getting larger for superstars and the middle class, this creates the biggest issue of all, building a deep roster for 82 games in the season, plus the playoffs. Cole Anthony of the Orlando Magic got a contract extension that could see his annual salary rise from $5.5 mil to $13 mil on average for the next 3 seasons. And he's just one of many examples of the middle-class players trying to increase salaries. Josh Green also had a similar situation in terms of a contract extension with the Mavericks. His deal is worth $41 million. The 2020 draft 18 pick is currently on contract worth $4.7 million and could rise to $13 million after the 24-25 season. And this is a team with headliners like Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving, and so on. Don't forget the likes of Grant Williams and Richard Holmes contributing significantly to the team's salary. As you can pretty much see by now, the money is already an issue and it's going to still keep being an issue. Take our man Onyeka Okongwu signing a new deal extension that takes him from earning $8 million to $14 million next season and even more the season after that. Other notable mentions in the middle-class players that getting extensions includes Isaiah Stewart, Aaron Nesmith, Zeke Naji, Peyton Pritchard, and many, many others. By far, one of the worst examples of this is with a player like Jaylen Brown. My dude is currently sitting on the largest contract in NBA history at $288 million for the next 5 years and arguably ain't even close to being a top 20 player in the NBA. I would go so far as to make the argument that the power of the dollar has gotten way out of hand and can very well end up bankrupting the entire league if barriers to curb this kind of money-hungry power grab doesn't stop. This takes a massive toll on the NBA by looking at options such as expanding the salary, luxury, and hard cap that, quite frankly, is not something you want to tell sponsors. Other notable players making over $50 million a year are Nikola Jokic, the MVP, and Bradley Beal, who is forcing the Phoenix Suns way over the salary cap with KD and D-Book as well. Once they hit close to the maximum salary with few star players, the next option to find talent is to seek out free agency players willing to sign minimum contract deals. And sure, you might find players like Patrick Beverley, Jaden Hardy, Isaiah Joe, and Ja Gibson with league minimums, but those are so few and far between. For one, this definitely affects the way that a team can build a roster. The NBA doesn't want teams with deep pockets, kind of like the Brooklyn Nets or the Golden State Warriors building a super team, but the rule also creates a problem. It doesn't allow teams to help their talents after development. This will spread the stars around, sure, but to what effect? One main thing that fans have come to enjoy seeing is our teams stick together and to develop a championship-worthy roster. Look, we've seen it done with the Denver Nuggets, with a main guy like Michael Porter, Nikola Jokic, and Jamal Murray all having stayed and developed together. But that might come to an end starting from the next season on. Oh, and another issue too is that this is a bad time to be a free agent. Once a team is maxed out to the salary cap and luxury tax level with the key and high earning middle class players, they have no option but to seek out veterans who are willing to sign minimum deals. Only a few teams qualify for the mid-level exception, and the number will definitely reduce in the coming season. Hence, the players who would ordinarily not opt for a minimum salary would have no choice but to do so. We see that already happening, and luckily the NBA enforced the load management rules where the league can now fine players for resting when they're not injured. It also makes the players play for awards. It is a league minimum now of 65 games to be played for a player to be able to even earn or make a spot on the All-NBA team. So the teams do face an issue of roster constriction and the inability to keep players demanding high salaries even if they have deep pockets. The middle-class players also have fallen down the pecking order if they fail to secure lucrative salaries. And speaking of those max contracts, here's another issue to look out for in the coming season. Top dollar max contracts haven't even highly been effective in keeping the superstars in the headlines. We see this case time and time again. I mean, just look at Kevin Durant. Another example is Ben Simmons, who refused to play after signing a 5-year, $170 million deal. Going by just these two examples, it's clear to see that money is fast becoming a major issue in the NBA on all sides. The salary cap and the luxury tax have done little to reduce the level at which players try to sniff out big money deals just for fun. But how does this affect the league's quality if money becomes the goal and not winning? So that about wraps it up for us, but do let us know in the comment section below what you think, and also if you have a much better suggestion on how to resolve all this. In the meantime, if you did like this video, then please go ahead and give us a big thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and of course, ding that notification bell so you don't miss out on any more content updates from us. Until next time, folks, we'll see you later.